Okay, just waiting on some people to join. I know it was short notice and that this is a holiday weekend. Well, it's kind of short notice. I did tell you guys last week that I would be doing this, and it will be ready for playback for those of you who are out enjoying the Labor Day weekend, and you should be able to follow along. Of course, you have access to me in the Patreon group, so you can always come over there and ask questions if you get stuck. So let me just come over and say hi to anybody that's here. Hi, Wanda. I'm glad that you caught me live. I know it's short notice and a holiday weekend, I was just saying, but I did say last week that we were going to do this, and it will be ready for playback for anybody that needs to go back, and you can access in the Patreon group and ask questions as well. We've got about 1 minute, and then I'll go ahead and get started. Did you open up the file, Wanda, so that you could follow along? Because we're not actually going to cut and assemble. I am going to cut one and make it after. I am just teaching the technique today so that you have the knowledge on how to do it. So anybody that wants to follow along needs to open up the file. Let's see, what was that file number? There it is. 106156944. It's also in the design tab, and it was in the email that you guys got. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And let me transition over to the design space. Okay, this is the file you should have open. What we're going to learn is the technique on how to do this butterfly, double butterfly flip. You can use any image to do this with. I just happen to use butterflies on this one, and but it's very versatile, and there's tons of things you can do. On this card, I used some enamel dots right here, and I used a piece of vellum, and I had written on it, but you can just use a stamp here if you want. This vellum I actually printed and cut. Hi, Claudia. I actually printed and cut this because I only had one sheet of the vellum, and I needed more than that to do my big butterfly up here. And as you can see, I wasn't very familiar with print and cut at the time that I did this. I was still learning it in patterns. That's why this one, it's got a little bitty pattern, and this one has big, because I didn't know how to adjust it. So, but we've learned all of that since then, so you'll want to edit and adjust your print and cut so that it is cohesive. I also use glitter tape and ribbon, and then this is a Tim Holtz. These are still for sale. You get like, I don't know, 12 to 20, something like that in a box. I really don't know how many's in there. I know I've used several on projects, and I still have maybe 8 or 10 of them left. And they all have different sayings on them. So these are good for all sorts of projects. You pick up a box, they're like, I don't know, $5.99, $6.99, but if you use 40% coupon, that's very inexpensive. The butterflies are not just vellum. They are on, you're about to find out how I did this. Now I did put a vellum here, and then they're also on the back side of where the card is closed. And then this is vellum as well. So there are several different ways, and I'm going to show you guys everything and teach you how to do it. Because you don't have to use butterflies. Okay? This one I did. I have not test cut this one yet, but it will probably open and close a little bit easier than the butterflies because it's all cohesive down the center. But you can use your own images and shapes to do this. So this card is so versatile that you can do tons of things with it. Okay, I have not yet shared this file. This file I am going to share with people that are here on the live. So if you're watching the live, or you come back and you watch it later, you'll have access to this file. If you don't watch this video, then you don't get it. But this flower file is 106.163.272. 106.163.272. And that file will not be given to anybody except patrons who have access to this video. So you guys get that for yourself. I'm just going to close these out. Oops, not that one. I want to stay. This is the file, and this one is uploaded into, I believe, the design tab. It may be on the exclusive tab in Design Space, and this is the one I did my butterfly from. So this one on the center, I cut a cardstock, a patterned cardstock or a colored cardstock, and then I put my vellum on top. These I did, this is the actual card base, guys, right here. And then I cut a pattern to go over it, and then I cut my vellum to go over that pattern, just to give it a pop of color because I didn't want it to be white back there. And I did that on the front and the back side of each side of this. So you're going to need, that's why there are 4 of these and 4 of these down there. I did not put panels. This is my panels, the 2 panels that go here on the inside of the card, and then the base that goes behind it. I did not put one back on the back side here, but you can certainly cut one. It could make the card heavy, so if you cut one to go on this back side here, I suggest cutting one of these to go on the back side panel as well. Okay? But I kind of wanted that. This card is going to fold into a gatefold. This is going to actually come to the center here, and this is to the center here. And another thing that I did not do when I did this card, I did not make a belly band because it is kind of thick and it will kind of do. I'm going to suggest that we do a belly band for these cards in an envelope as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, and let me show you how I achieved doing this. And if I'm not mistaken, guys, I learned this technique from Georgia Carl. I believe she did it with a tree and a snowman, I want to say. I can't remember. It's been a long time ago. She had several, and I took her technique and applied it and changed it from the Christmas themes that she was doing and did mine into a spring birthday type theme or a thank you card theme. And so that's how the double flip butterfly came about. And because she taught me how she did that, I shared that file with her. So let's go ahead and get started. And I have created this base for you guys. And the first thing I want you to do, if you're following along, you've opened this up, I want you to go in and do a save as. And then I want you to name this whatever theme you're going to do. If you're going to use a flower or whatever. But for right now, we're just going to do the number 1 and save it. What this does is it creates a secondary base for you. That way your original base is never changed. And if you want to come in here, because when you save this, you're going to name it as your butterfly or whatever. Like I just said, save it. And then you have your double flip butterfly. So when you want to make one that has a flower in it, you can go to that base, because this right here can take some time to set up. Because you have to get all of these score lines in the correct place. Okay, that's just what that's about. This will save you a ton of time, and you can make this into anything that you want to make it into. So now that you've saved it and you've gotten so that you can go in and cut and everything and not mess up your original base, let's go to images. And you guys stop and ask me questions at any point that you need to ask a question, okay? Or if you get lost, or if I'm going too fast, say, hey, slow down, I missed that. So we're going to go to images, and we're going to go to butterflies. And you can see here, there's some in here from Anna Griffin. What you're looking for when you look for an image is something similar to this. You want something that's got some layers in it. Okay? You can do this if you have Surecuts a lot, or you're familiar with Inkscape or anything. You can use any image, but you need something that has 2 to 3 layers. That way you have 3 sizes. That's the easiest way to do this card. You really need 3 sizes to do it, you know, quick and efficiently. I know that it's in here somewhere. I don't think I welded those together, but I may have. Who knows? Let's see. Can I check and see? Did I weld that? No, it is. I believe that image is in there because I just saw that. That's the overlay. Anna's Garden Cards and Embellishments. Yep. This is on Anna's Garden Cards and Embellishments. That's where it's at. And if you don't have that cartridge, you don't have to buy this image. We're just going along, and you guys can follow along on the how-to. And if you want to purchase it later, then of course you can do that. There is the single butterfly. We may just do this one with the single. I did weld them together. I did 4. So this is image number #M as in Mary 1, E as in Edward 03 for David. So you're going to grab that image and insert it. And of course you're going to want to size that. And I think just for today, if you're going to do several, you're going to need to size it in there and duplicate it several times and make sure that they fit. So I'm going to come back. If you're doing multiples, you're just going to go ahead and do your multiple butterflies there. And that looks good. If you want to do 4, just size them in there. We'll just go ahead and do it. It's not that big of a deal. Not that many more steps. I am going to select them all. I am going to align, and I am going to center them horizontally. The next thing you want to do with your images is you want to distribute vertically. That's very important. You don't want one closer to the other that way. So once you have that, you can come over here, and I am just going to ungroup each one of these. I'm not going to move anything. I'm just going to ungroup. Oops, I did move something, but that's okay. Then I'm going to get rid of the top layers, and I'm going to move over the center layers. Let's just double check, align, and center those horizontally. Make sure that you distribute vertically and that they're in the right place. And I think I'm doing this right. It's been a long time since I did it. And then I am going to weld. I'm going to move these out of the way. Want to arrange, move this to the front. And then you're going to, we need to get, let me move that to the back, maybe that will work. You're going to align these, and if you don't move anything, it's a lot easier because you just want to weld. You're not going to do that with these, okay? These are going to stay loose. Actually, I left those loose too, I believe. No, I didn't. I made them touch. But I am doing this one slightly different. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and I'm going to leave those loose. Leave those loose too. This is the only one you need to weld. Then we're going to insert a shape, a square. The distribute vertically, Wanda, when you have them selected, let me just grab a couple. When you have like 3 images or more selected and you go to your align tool, you would align center horizontally and then go back to align again, and down at the bottom where it says distribute, and you're going to distribute vertically. And what that does is it spaces them out evenly between each one. Okay? So that's very important, especially when you're doing like writing on cards or you're going to slice something out of another thing, that you have them spaced correctly. That gives you that nice, cohesive, professional look. So we've got this here. Now I have this square that I inserted. And I am going to unlock it. And I am going to make this 0.25 wide. And I am going to make it... let's see. Move it to the front. I want this to be wide enough that it goes above and below them. I'm not going to use it right this second. I am going to duplicate this, and we're just going to bring it over. And we want the center of the butterfly to be centered of that score line. And the same here. We're not worrying about the vertical yet. We just want to make sure that that's centered there, because if we try to center horizontally, it's just going to throw them into the middle. And that's not what we're looking for. Then you're going to select them all and align center vertically. And that way that lines them up vertically into the card. Then just select the card. And you're going to detach. Okay, my score lines are not attached. Yes, they are. Oh, I just grouped them. That's right. So I'm going to ungroup, arrange, move that to the back. That way my score lines are not, the score lines have not been attached yet, and that was for ease of use in the file. I'm going to select one set of butterflies and the card, and I'm going to slice. And then I am going to select that, and I'm going to get rid of it, and I'm going to select that one and get rid of it. Now you have a hole in your card. And then I am going to select the card again. I'm not moving anything. Arrange, move it to the back. I'm going to select this set of butterflies, holding my shift, and select the card, and I'm going to slice it again. And I'm going to get rid of that. Don't need it. Okay? Everybody with me so far? I'm going to select one of my base butterflies and I'm going to duplicate it. And I want to set it right in there. I'm not changing the size. You should have clearance. And then you're going to select each one. I've got, you just need to have one spare. You're going to use it later. Let me move this to the back so I can select them. Arrange, move that to the back. Now I'm going to select all of my butterflies. I'm going to align, center horizontally again, align, and distribute vertically. And then I'm just going to check that I have clearance around each one. You may need to go in down to the bottom of your screen and increase your zoom so you can see it. But you should have clearance around all of your butterflies. Okay? And then I'm just going to, while they're selected, I am going to weld them together. Now that I have that ready to go. That's all I need for now. I shouldn't have moved my card. And then I'm going to zoom back out so I can see. Is everybody with me so far? I am going to duplicate that bar. And the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to shorten this one. Oops, I don't want to turn it. Undo. Going to shorten this one to come right here at the tip of this butterfly and at the tip of that base right there. And I'm going to unlock it and I'm going to make it, I don't know, okay, it's 4694 wide. I am going to make it 0.75 wide. That's a little too wide. Let's go to 0.65. It's going to depend on how you sized your butterflies. I don't want to get into their little tails down here. Let's make it 0.62. And that looks good. So I'm going to duplicate that again. I'm going to leave that there. You want to be right there at that tip and right there at this tip without touching the tails of your butterflies there. You're going to select the card and slice. And you're going to get rid of all of that trash. Now you have this big open space. I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. Let me arrange and move that to the front so it doesn't change the color of my card. Whatever color is on the bottom when you slice is the color that your card will change to. And I'm going to hold and shift. Make sure it's not touching. And that doesn't have to be perfectly centered. You just don't want it touching your butterfly's tails right here. And select it and the card and slice. And then you can get rid of that as well. The color change, whatever color is on the bottom, yeah, that will change the color when you slice. Okay, now let's arrange and move that to the back. We have our welded butterflies and we're going to duplicate that. We need 2. Okay? And you're going to, again, if you need to, zoom in to make sure that you've got them placed right where you need to place them, that they're centered and you have clearance around all of them. And once you have one set, you can get the other vertically with your score lines on on top. Centering horizontally is pretty easy. Select them both, come over to your align and align top. That way you know you've got them exact. And then you can just weld those together just so that they don't get moved again. And now you're going to duplicate this bar that you made right here, well, actually I don't know how I changed the size of it, but I did. It needs to be I don't know, 2.5. Maybe that's too wide. Maybe that's why I did change it. Oops, undo. That is a little wide. I'm going to change that to 0.20. So if you want to change yours as well. And unlock it so I can stretch it. You want a good, undo. I don't want to move that. There we go. Arrange, move this to the front so we can quit doing that. You want it to be long enough that it goes above your butterfly here and below it. Doesn't matter how far, just as long as it's above and below. And I've got this at I'm going to do 0.175 in width. That looks good to me. So now I'm going to duplicate it, because you don't want it to be so thin that when they're doing the flip portion of this, that it breaks. Because if you get it, you can get it down to 0.15, but that's not going to give you very much room to score it and fold it, because you got to remember this portion is going to be folded. So it needs to be wide enough that you can get a fold in it. And so I'm still rethinking mine. I may want to go just a little bit wider. I'm used to looking at mine at... I think that's going to be good though. It may be a little difficult to fold, but you know, with our new scoring tool and with our scrapers, we can hold it in there, or a ruler and bend it, or you can lay it on the edge of the table and fold it. You can do it. It won't be that difficult. So I'm going to leave mine at 0.175 width, and I've got it long enough it's not going above or below my card. And I am going to select my butterflies and both. Well, I've got one there, so let's just do one at a time and weld. And I'll just show you what I mean by this being on the bottom. Let me select that, hold my shift, select my butterflies, and weld. You see how they changed color? The color on the bottom is going to be your dominant color. And we'll just change them back to pink. Doesn't really matter at this point because they're going to turn white. Now that you have them and they're in place, we haven't moved anything. Both of these are welded together. You're going to select that and the card, and you're going to weld again. You have just created your double flip card. Arrange, move that to the back. Select that in your score lines and align center and attach. So now we can come down here, and if you want, arrange, move this to the front. These can be separate. You don't have to have these. You just need 4 of them. So we're just going to line these up to make sure that we have enough. That way you don't have so much mass, and it will spin better than mine did. I've learned a lot since I made that card. I am going to align. Center horizontally, align. I'm going to distribute vertically. Oops. Align, distribute vertically. There we go, not horizontally. And I'm going to group those. Just going to group them. And then I'm going to duplicate it 3 times. So now I have one for this side. I have one for the back. And another one for this back. So there we have those. Now I'm just going to get rid of these. So everything just comes to the front. It just makes it easier. And I'm going to duplicate 3 times. Move that one to the front. Well, doesn't want to come to the front. Let me put you back. Arrange, move it to the front. There we go. And now we have, these will be cut out of vellum. And I am going to make sure those are lined up. They look good. I am going to oops. I am going to duplicate. I ungrouped it, didn't I? Oh yeah, I don't want to ungroup it. I want to duplicate it. We need this. I forgot to do a second one, but that's okay. So now we have this one here. And when I messed up, guys, but you can do this when you go and you're doing these with your shapes. Do you remember when we put that square on there and cut that out? You need to duplicate that square one more time. I forgot to do it, but that's okay. We can recover. I'm going to align, and I am going to center horizontally, align, distribute vertically. That didn't work, did it? What did I do? Missed one. Align, center horizontally, and we're just going to group them. They don't have to be exact because this is just, they're going to cut individually anyway. And arrange, move one to the back so you have one for your back side. There you go. So now we're done with those, but we need these panels. Arrange, move them to the front. We need these panels to fit around those butterflies. So I am going to just slide that out of the way for now. Oops. Let's go ahead and pull this down here so we can see. I'm going to put it over that dark background so I can see it, because I messed up. If you do this prior or just save the one that you cut out, then you're good. So I've got my butterfly in there. I'm actually going to, that's the wrong one. I don't need that one. Sorry about that, guys. Go to the images. I'm going to get that butterfly again because I need the back piece. There's the 4. Here's 4 of them together. I knew that was in there. So you don't have to do that. You can use this one. I kind of like the way that we're doing this one, though, with them separated. Where is he? There he is. I'm going to insert that. I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to ungroup it. So if you mess up, this is how you can fix it. You don't have to do all that undo and go back to the beginning. It's not the end of the world. Because I think I want him just slightly larger anyway. I don't know. I'm going to fill the void there for that size. That looks close enough. I'm going to duplicate it 4 times. Get them lined up in there. And going to select them. Make sure we align. That looks good. I'm going to go with it, and I'm going to weld them. So we needed to keep that extra one that I tossed out. You don't want to toss it out, really. And then you're going to, I did attach these or group them. So ungroup, bring this to the front, and then you're going to select them all. Oops, almost messed up again. Duplicate it. You really don't have to. You can just duplicate this. Align, center vertically. Okay, you want it in vertically centered. It should basically line up with the other. I'm going to unselect it. I'm going to select them all, align, and center vertically. I want everything centered vertically there. Then I'm going to select just the butterflies, hold my shift in one panel. Nope, I got them attached or grouped, ungroup, arrange, move it backward. There we go. So I just need to select this and the panel on the right and slice. And then I'm just going to grab the butterflies on the left and this panel and slice. Then I'm just going to get rid of this trash. Okay, and now you have these panels that will fit on there. Myself, I would do just like we did with the bar in the back. Let's get you a square and get rid of that trash in the middle so that it flows evenly. You don't need all of that unless you just want it. But these pieces right here, these 3 pieces, we want to get rid of those. Hi, Tabitha. Where is it? There. I thought I put my square in. I forgot we had moved down. So I am just going to unlock this and make it wide enough to just snip those out. Duplicate it. Select these and slice. And you can tell when you put it back over here if you need to take more out. And that looks pretty good. That might hang. I think I will take a little bit more out. I'm just going to undo and move my bar over just a little bit more and slice. That's perfect. Okay, and do the same on this side. And slice it. Okay, and once you have your panels set like you want those, get rid of all this trash. You can get rid of this. You can even get rid of this set of panels. You don't really need them. That was just to show you what you needed. We're going to get these 2, align, top, and we're going to group them back together, and let's just make them look pretty and put them the dark pink that's in the group and duplicate it. If you want panels for the back side of your card, you would need to do that. Like I said, if you're going to do that, make sure you do that for all of your panels. I'm just going to, I got all of this up here. And then you have your flip card. We're done. Basically, well, you can align and center everything. That's just a habit that I do when I make my cards so that they look nice when you open them up. So that's all there is to doing that card. I know it seems like a lot, but it's really pretty simple. And I chose the butterflies to do this because this is a shape that's kind of difficult to do. If you go with something like the file that I had for you earlier, let me go back and get that. The double flip flowers. I'm just going to replace the other one. We don't need it. These are easier because you're basically just going to put a circle in there. These are little panels here. But you're just going to slice out your largest layer, and you're going to put 3 little circles in there and a strip down the center, and boom, you're done. But I wanted to do it will be. These are much simpler if you use a shape where you can use a basic shape behind it. I wanted to show you guys how to do it using the butterflies, because if you pick a shape that's difficult to do, you need to know that you need to make sure that you have those clearances around it. So that's why I wanted to show you with this instead of one of the simpler designs. If you go to do one of these simpler designs and you get stuck, message me. I'll be happy to walk you through and show you any step that you're missing. And always, when you create one of these cards, before you cut out of your good card stock, I always, when Michael's and Hobby Lobby and Joann's have these sales, I buy the inexpensive papers and I test cut. And it doesn't matter what colors they are. I don't care, because I'm gonna cut everything out of the same color. When I go and test cut something like this, everything is going to get cut from the exact same color, because I am not checking anything except fit and function. Because once you've done this, you're going to fold on these score lines, and then this folds. This side is your front. This is going to be in the front, because you're going to mountain fold this fold, and valley this one, and mountain this one. This right here and this right here become the front of your card. That is the front of your card. This will be to the inside, this will be to the inside. And then when you open it, because of the way that this is folded on that score, those butterflies will flip back and forth. You may need to give them a little twist right here where they're connected at the top and at the bottom to get your functionality to go, but they will do it. Did everybody understand? Were you able to follow along with that? Do you have any questions? And then all I did was, let me go back to that image. Of course, you can change up your image. You don't have to use the same image for this portion unless you want to. I am going to select that. I'm going to insert it again. I just used it to dress up my card. And I can put that there, and then you can put in a circle. We'll unlock it, make an oval. Put an oval down here. And there's a layered oval in Design Space that you can use double layer. And you can use washi tape across here. You can cut cardstock. Anything to dress up the inside that you want. I always try to make this either the exact size and width, or I give myself a little space if I'm going to use washi tape or ribbon or something like that, and fold it to the back side of that panel before I glue that panel down. So you can do that with your ribbons and stuff on there. Let's make it look pretty. We'll do the other color in the file. So then you have those. If you want to make a belly band, you're going to need a rectangle. Decide how wide you want it to be. In my opinion, I like about 1.5 inches to 2 inches on a belly band. And that's a little too much for this card. You have to judge because of your card. how wide you want that belly band to be. Let's go to 1.5. Duplicate. I might go to inch, and because of everything that's so busy on this card, I'm going to say 0.75 on this one. I kind of like that width. And then I would do a circle or whatever to mimic this for the front to connect my belly band. You're going to want to make it twice plus half. So if this, the card base, I believe, let me duplicate that and check my measurement. Unlock. Guesstimation is good on here. Okay, we're going to say 4 inches wide when it's folded. So we'll need to make that 8. I'm going to say 10 inches in length for your belly band, because you're going to need room for it to be folded on the sides without crushing your card. You want to give it enough height. I don't put score lines on these. I did at one time, but I found out it depends on how it's embellished as to where it really needs to be scored. So I kind of just tack it in the middle to the back of my card with my card folded. Then I bring the two ends up to the front, and then I place, I glue the two ends together, and then I place this over where they're overlapped at to create my belly band, giving it enough space to slide on and off the card. So if you've got these flips, these butterflies are going to be flipped up. If you do this belly band, give it, I'm going to say, point, I don't know, 0.38 or 3/8 or 0.375 allowance to slide over those bellum butterflies, because you don't want them ripping them off the card, sliding that belly band off, or either make it a Velcro closure so they can just Velcro it off instead of sliding it. To me, the Velcro would be better on this type card. Okay, does anybody have any questions? Tabitha needs help with layering HTV. I have done some things on that, Tabitha. The way that you need to do with layering vinyl or HTV. Is everybody finished? Wanda, Claudia, everybody finished with questions on doing the flip cards for now? Because I want you guys to make the card and post it in the group and show how you made one. I'm going to make a new one out of the, I'm probably going to do it out of this one. I don't know. I may do butterflies and I may do those flowers. But I am going to do my version of that one and post in the group for you guys to see. So I think I'm going to do this one. So you guys make those and show me, and if you get stuck, let me answer your questions before you get too far. Do a test cut. Make sure that yours fit, because even though you followed along with me, I don't know that this one's going to fit. This is a new file, so you always want to test your new file. Now, let me show Tabitha about layering HTV. Let's go to a new. I'm just going to replace this. And let's see. As a matter of fact, I just did the mistletoe sign, Tabitha, so let's pull that one up. Let me go to my projects and grab that. I did this on a sign, but the same thing is going to apply for a shirt or anything else. Anytime that you're layering vinyl or HTV, this is the way that I would do it. I'm going to just save this as because I don't want to mess up the file that's in the Patreon groups there. It's going to take a minute for that to save. Okay, so let me get rid of everything here. And as you can see, when I did this, this was all one piece. I started with this piece right here. I'm just going to hide this for right now so I can show you basically how you would layer. I started with this image out of Design Space. I went in and I got a shape and I got a square and I put it in there. I got my text and I typed in my text. Then I chose my font, and I believe that was Balloon Pops. Yep. I selected my text. Then I sized it out, and I didn't like the spacing between the two words, so I advanced and I ungrouped to letters. And then I selected the last portion and I welded. I selected this and I welded. And then I separated them. Align, go back and align them vertically and weld. Now that fits in there like I wanted it to, but I want to back, and I'm going to align and center that vertically and align and center it horizontally, and I'm going to weld that. Now that's what I started with, but I wanted that background back there for this. Let me go to as you can see, I wanted a background and I wanted this to be a different color as well. And I'm layering this stuff up. And I don't want it to get heavy. So I've got my square and I am bringing it into, this one is 16.5 by 4.5. So I'm going to make this 17, unlock it, by 5. And then I am going to align and center it, and I'm going to slice. So now I have this, and I have this. I don't need this anymore. Oh, yes, I do. Wrong one. Oops. This is the piece that I want here, and then I want this piece too. So I'm going to take this one, and I am going to hit contour, and I'm going to get rid of the dots and in this case I'm going to show you how I just got the background. I'm going to get rid of everything. Let's just hide all contours. And then I'm left with this, okay? So this would be my background. But then I have to layer it up on top. So I don't want to do that, okay? So come back over and contour and hide all contours, or show all contours, I'm sorry. And I'm just going to get rid of the frame right there and the dots. So I'm going to click on those. And then I have this piece here. This piece I'm going to come in and I'm going to contour, and I'm going to hide all contours, and then I'm going to select that center one back. So then oops, let me contour that again. I want my dots too. So then I just have my frame, what I originally started with. Now I can put that in there. But I had this, I wanted it a different color as well. So now I'm going to come up here and I am going to hide all contours, and then I am going to just click on the letters. I think I did this right. I may have done that wrong. That's wrong. Don't need that piece. I was right about that. I'm going to duplicate my frame. That's the part that had the letters in it. I'm going to come to contour, and you can see they're there. I'm going to select the frame and get rid of it. And then I'm going to bring in just the letters. I should have not welded them in if I wanted them a different color, but I did. So I could just type it again, or I can come in here and get an image. Oops, a shape, not an image. And get my square. Just going to place it over so that I have a positive instead of a negative, and slice it. I'm going to get rid of my negatives. And then I have this that I can make my third color. And that's what you're going to do with your images so that you can change them up to make them layer in. Okay? I hope that's making sense to you. You're going to do that. You're going to have to duplicate your images and contour out to change your colors after you've sliced them, if they're not layered out already. If you have, let's see, if I was busy loading that file. Okay, if you have something that has layers already, then let me get rid of this. Then you can ungroup them. And this one, as you can see, is already sliced apart. So they've already sliced this. This would probably, I would do this probably as a print and cut. If I were doing this, I would do print and cut on printable for those flowers. But the rest of this has been already sliced out for you. You're just going to cut them in different colors. Then when you go to layer it, I have a video on layering. Your first layer, you're going to put down your main layer where it needs to be so that it fits properly. And you're only going to iron it on for 3 to 5 seconds, enough to get it to stick. Because if you do that and you heat it the whole time for this first layer, it's going to shrink. Then when you go to put this next layer in, it's not going to fit. You can see that it's not going to fit in there. So make sure you only tack for 3 to 5 seconds so that it becomes the size that it doesn't shrink up and it stays close to the size you need it to be. And then you're just going to maneuver your other images in around that to get them to fit. Because as you're doing this 3 to 5 seconds, it's stuck. You're going to do this 3 to 5 seconds, it's stuck. You're going to do your next color and do that. And by the time that you're finished, you're just going to heat the whole thing for 8 to 10 seconds. And that's going to give it enough time because of all the layers in this. You just need to heat that last layer the full amount of time. Does that make sense to you, Tabitha? You don't want to put a ton of layers on top of layers. You could put these eyelashes like on top of this. It's probably not going to hurt anything. Unless you do this pumpkin and glitter, then you can't layer anything on top of glitter. Okay? You want to make sure that your bases are bases. You don't want to put anything on top of foil, holographic, glitter. You want to use the slice method. Myself, I don't care if I'm using regular vinyl in 4 different colors. Yes, you can layer regular vinyl in 4 different colors. I'm still going to do the slice method so it doesn't get bulky and heavy. Because if you were to layer all of these on top of each other, they were all, say, regular iron-on, you could layer that. This part right here is going to be so heavy that it's going to flop over this part of the shirt. Especially like on a onesie or a pillow, it makes that heavy where the rest of it's light and this is light. It's just going to pull it down. It's going to weigh down as they're wearing it. I used to work at Lowe's, and we had iron-on the back of our vest. They're like I don't know, like a nylon type vest that we wore, but they had air holes all in them so that it was breathable. But where they had the iron-on for Lowe's on it, every single one of us would sweat across our back where that was, because it doesn't breathe. So if you layer a ton of that stuff, and that was just one single layer, so if you layer a ton of that stuff up, whoever's wearing it, and if it's out hot out, they're going to sweat in that area because it doesn't breathe. Does anybody else have any questions, Design Space or project questions or anything? Anything that I can answer for you guys at all? I appreciate you guys coming and watching and learning how to do the double flip card and asking your questions. I appreciate your support on Patreon. I have added a new level to Patreon, and it's probably going to be for people who are pressed for time, or you want to do the card of the month and things like that, or you're not doing paper or vinyl projects, or you want to learn to do projects that you haven't. It is a diamond level, and it's going to have a kit mailed out each month. So that it's going to be limited. I am going to start it out with just 10 members on that level. But they will be nice kits. They're not going to be a cheap little kit. It's going to be something, and every kit is going to include something that is reusable. A tool, a die, an embossing folder, something of that nature. So if you're interested in that, you can start signing up for that as of today. I'm about to go over and set that. I had it set for not to purchase it until today, so I'm going to go fix that. So anybody interested in that, and those will be exclusive to those only. Those files will not be released to anybody else. So, all right, guys, let's go make some double flip cards. Show me your creations. I'm interested to see what you guys come up with and what you do, and how you use that file. And if you get stuck, don't hesitate to ask. Happy Labor Day weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday for the live. I am going to go live at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, Labor Day. And we are going to, I am going to put up the napkin fold card. Somebody had asked me about it. I had it in the plans and I didn't put it. They were a patron and I went ahead and gave them the file because they were doing something with that and they didn't want to have to go in and create one. But I am giving you guys a file to work with on the napkin fold. And we're going to do that Monday. If you're anybody that's not a patron, will of course have to create their own file for it, but you guys are going to get the file. Oh, you're welcome, Claudia. Thank you, Wanda, Claudia, Tabitha. I appreciate you guys joining me. Thanks to all of you guys who are watching the playback. I appreciate all of my patrons. You guys have any questions at all, don't message me or come to the group, and don't sit there and wait because you guys get the red carpet treatment. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you guys Monday.